I've just read this on Facebook, and it's the story of this little girl, whom I'm going to show you in a moment, who is in hospital because of bullying. Her mum did something special, but just let me show you a picture I managed to just get off the web. Okay, she is Sophie. She's a lovely little thing, and her mum did something particularly special because she was bullied so much that she ended up in hospital. I think due to severe anxiety, amongst other things. And here, just so that you can see another part from the story, is a picture of Sophie when she is in the hospital, laying there, all snuggled up and covered up. Looks like she's being monitored on various devices and whatever. So let me tell you a little bit more about what is behind the story that the Indy 100 is reporting. Her mother says, amongst other things, "This is my child, with such a caring heart that despite being so ill, she doesn't want to get anyone into trouble." Just let that sink in for a moment. "This is my child who has stopped eating, has cried herself to sleep, had anxiety so severe she's woken up sick 20 times in an hour through the night. This is my child whose best friend," get this, her best friend, "has emotionally abused her for so long that she thought it was normal. This is my child who's been in and out of hospital for countless trips due to being sick with anxiety." Get that? Sick with anxiety. It's a physical symptom as well, anxiety. It's a physical symptom, yep. But she's actually been physically sick with anxiety. "This," she says, "is my child who was told off for telling tales at school." Another one. "This is my child who's been mocked on social media by the bully's parents." Get this, the bully's parents, for just having such a pure heart. And one of the final things she says, "This is my child who was told by the school that she should be the one feeling ashamed and she should be sneaked in via a side door of a morning." Bullying. It's cultural. It's a norm, isn't it? Bullying, right from the top down, right from Mrs. May and her bullying of the sick, the unemployed, the disabled, the old, those whom she considers werthless essers, worthless eaters, those who she bullies to look for jobs when they're so ill they can hardly stand up. The Daniel Blakes, to quote the film of this world, with the heart conditions, who eventually die before being able to receive their benefit or even have their appeal heard. Bullying. I say the word again because it is a way of doing things now, isn't it? This little girl, just let me find her picture again. This little girl, here she is again. Yep. This little girl, I believe she's called Sophie. Okay? There, look at Sophie. Sophie is a child victim. I think she's about 6 years old. Yeah? I know the posts and whatever on social media have received a tremendous amount of support and really feeling for Sophie as well, which is great. But she's a victim of bullying. Where does it come from? Well, it happens at work as well, doesn't it? You get people bullied into doing this by managers who are bullied by the people above them, by people above them who own the company, who are bullied by their shareholders, and bullying goes all the way down the line. It's a power thing, isn't it? Bullying is prominent. It's not just prominent in society, it's promoted in society. Bullying comes from many causes, obviously, but it also comes from being different, doesn't it? I was reading an article that I've posted on my blog about this idea of learning to hate, because hate is a powerful emotion. Hate is a way of exploiting difference to scapegoat. Hate is a way of, well, it's a way of getting votes for lots of Conservatives, isn't it? All kinds of hate. Race hate. Hate of disabled people. Hate of anyone that is different. Hate is programmed in almost for the defence of the group. Because you have to be able to recognise outsiders and you have to be able to recognise enemies. And maybe this little girl is perceived by the people in her class as an enemy. Why would she be an enemy? It says she has a kind heart. What happens to people in this world with a kind heart? What happens to them? They're trodden on, they're abused, they're spat at. The only way, of course, we can win is to support people who are bullied, is to have policies, and let's hope the school do have an investigation as well, because they are saying there is one apparently in progress. But are you a parent, and are your kids suffering with being bullied at school? I know my niece has. I know when my boys were young, they had as well. I know of kids being moved from school to school because this is happening. I know of schools that apparently have a policy against this kind of thing, and they do nothing. They don't act on it, or they pay lip service to it. But above all, I think this comes from the angst-ridden, uncertain, hate-filled society that is being created by the billionaires at the top to divide us one from another and to ensure that they get more money, they get richer. That divide and rule tactic. Anyway, just thought you should think about Sophie and how Sophie kind of relates to the bigger picture. I certainly wish her well. I wish her parents well. I wish her friends well. And I wish that the staff in that school, under as much pressure as they may be, because the Tories aren't giving anything to education, is joke, okay? Absolute joke. They might let you buy an exercise book or a pencil or a glue stick or something. But I feel for the staff in that school too. Maybe even dealing with things like this when there are so many other priorities is extremely time consuming and extremely hard. Please do pass this on, especially if you've been bullied, because as I've said many times before, I was bullied as a kid as well, so believe me, if you've ever been bullied, I know what it feels like.